Embodiment is literally the key to everything. Embodiment is the antidote to mental health disorders like anxiety, like depression. Embodiment is the way to heal your trauma and to release all of those limiting beliefs, because embodiment is just the ability to be present with what is in the body and be responsive to what is coming up. And so when emotions come up that are stemming from trauma, can you be with them? Can you experience them? Can you feel them? And can you let them go on a deep level rather than just suppressing and resisting, which is what we do when we are overly identified and caught up with the mind. Embodiment is also the antidote to menstrual issues, to womb-based misalignments, because really, as a woman, when we are in deep connection to our body, that's when we can start feeling and healing and sensing where the blocks are, where the problems are. Because if we're overly identified with the mind, we're not going to be able to pinpoint where the problems are and where they're stemming from. Embodiment really is the antidote to so much. Like if you're also struggling with your SX life, like embodiment is the key to you feeling more pleasure, to you enhancing your O, to you being more present with the experience of the body. We can't expect to live our lives like so overly in our heads, and then, when we want to be connected to our bodies, such as, when we're bleeding or when we're having sex, it's like we now all of a sudden expect our bodies to perform perfectly for us, but we haven't spent any time cultivating a relationship to our bodies, especially as women. We're living in a man's world, and we've been conditioned to be overly identified with the mental and physical capacities of our body, which is, the masculine, and less identified with the emotional and spiritual capacities of our body, which is the feminine. And so we need all of these capacities to be in balance in order to experience health. Embodiment is also a skill. It is a skill that we have to practice. It is a state of being, because we've been so conditioned to be so in the mind. And so embodiment takes practice. It takes work. It takes working on the skill to remember and to be reminded to come back into the body, to be more connected to the sensual feeling, being states, and less in the analyzing, thinking, doing state. And so it really takes practice. It takes consistency. It takes dedication. It takes learning. And just like any skill, it takes practice to become good at it. And so the more you practice embodiment and feeling and sensing and being present in your body, the more natural it becomes. Embodiment is a huge part of what I teach in my coaching containers, in my courses, in my in-person workshops and events. It's such a big piece of the puzzle of healing our relationship to our trauma, to our feminine energy, to our body, and to the mental health. Like really, my mental health journey started to actually show results once I started to practice embodiment, once I started to get on my mat on a regular basis and engage with whatever was there for me to feel, not running away, not suppressing the pain, not trying to change it or fix it, but actually just being present and allowing myself to receive the jewels and the nuggets of wisdom from my body and that potentially uncomfortable experience. Because in theory, embodiment is easy, but in practice, it's actually really difficult because of how conditioned we have been in our society to be overly identified with the mind, with the thinking, with the doing, with the analyzing and projecting and solving and all of these things. You know, this is our natural state. This is our like conditioned natural state. This is our, you know, default mode, is to be in the mind, is to be in this thinking, doing, masculine state of being. And so that's why embodiment takes work, it takes effort, it takes practice. And this is best done through the tools that I give you in my coaching containers and courses.